This week on Kits and Cruising, Richard Hammond checks out the Westfield phenomenon, and the race is on to get our Jester finished.
Mention kit cars to the uninitiated today, and the name that's most likely to spring to their mind is Westfield, even if they don't actually know what one looks like. Now, the marketing people would have us believe that this is another case of good brand management, but you don't get to build the kind of strong public image enjoyed by Westfield without getting something right. So we've come to the Midlands to see just what these cars are all about. First of all, the styling. Now, you haven't actually got much to work with when you're building a car this basic. You've got a long, thin body and then a wheel at each corner. But Westfield have managed to actually put their own distinctive style on it. Maybe this shape has become so familiar now that we no longer see the details. But look closely and there are some nice touches, like these lines running along the length of the bonnet and extended into the bodywork and repeated on the cycle and rear mudguards. They give it a distinctive look. They make it look finished and deliberate and thought about, which it very much is. In fact, when Westfield first came up with this shape, so close was it to a car of some years ago that Caterham, custodians of the original Lotus 7 Legend, actually sued Westfield. So they made some changes accordingly, and this is what we got. Some would say a shape that looks actually better than the original Caterham. But it takes more than just a good form to build a strong reputation. And let's not forget, there's nothing new about building basic, cheap roadsters in large numbers. Dutton have been doing it for years. What Westfield did was decide a bit of quality needed to be applied here in large quantities, and that they did. Gradually, over years, with care and attention, they built their number of customers and they built that strong reputation that they enjoy today. And that means that what we get today in a Westfield is a reflection of that reputation. The car feels solid, complete, finished, thought about. There is nothing cheap and nasty about a Westfield today. And this is probably the best bit, the noise. And then the drive. This is the Super Sport with a 1.8 litre Ford Zetec fitted. And do you really need me to tell you that this is fun? Because oh yes, it is, most definitely. There's just enough power from wherever you are in the rev range, and the handling is superb. It feels so balanced. I wouldn't be at all surprised if this is a near perfect 50-50 weight distribution front and back. It feels so poised at all times. You can put the rear of the car wherever you want it, whenever you want it there. It's just as much fun whether you feel like blasting through your favourite series of twisty country lanes, or maybe a more sedate pace for a cruise through the countryside for a very small picnic. Very small because there's no space to spare in here. But what do you expect? It's a roadster and it fills every bit of it. In a car this small and light, a 1.8 litre engine is more than enough to get you into trouble or to just have a huge amount of fun. There's plenty of mid-range, and above about 5,000 revs there's the most glorious bellow from that side pipe. Of course, that's not your only option. You can go really crazy. Other engine options, well, how long have you got really? Pretty much any standard 4-cylinder lump will fit, though most get Ford Crossflows, Pintos and Zetecs. They have fitted a few years ago a Ford turbo diesel, and there's been some even wilder stuff, and I've driven this one, the S8 with a V8 engine, and that really is lunatic, practically undrivable in some circumstances, though you go and find me anything that's even half as much fun. The company's enjoyed a lot of success recently with a new range of bike engine versions. Using a lighter frame, they fit the engine from either Honda's CBR 900 Fireblade or Suzuki's fire-breathing GSXR 1300 Hayabusa. Even the noise from these things is enough to make your hair stand up and jump out. They'll rev to over 10,000 RPM. And of course, you get the 6-speed sequential box that's standard to the bike. Believe me, sounds like almost too much fun. Almost, but not absolutely. You never can have too much fun. There's something instantly recognisable as soon as you pull away about the feeling of staring down that long bonnet with the headlamps either side and then the wheels and cycle guards either side of that. straight away you've got a smile on your face before you've barely turned a wheel. This is what it's all about. This is what we should all be doing nearly all the time. You should never have to try and explain to your bank manager why you want the money to go out and do something like this. Take them out for a spin. Let them see for themselves. If they can't understand, sack them. You should be able to get this on the national health. People should give you one of these for a week just to make you feel good. We'd none of us be ill if we could play in one of these once a week. Probably the easiest way to explain this is to say that Westfield are the kit car's equivalent of Ford in the volume manufacturers, and this, as their best seller, is the equivalent of the Ford Focus. Maybe not the most exciting and flamboyant car out there, but at least you know it's been built by people who've been doing it for years and know precisely what they're doing. And you know it'll start every single time. It'll last and last and last, and when you finally want to get rid of it, you'll have no problem selling it. Then you can move on to something bigger and more flamboyant, perhaps a Westfield S8 or a bike engine version, or one with 2 bike engines. Ooh.
Well, if you've been to any custom or hot rod shows in 1999, the next vehicle, if you've not seen it before, you must have been walking around with your eyes shut. This machine has been at nearly every show I've been to, and a lot more besides. It's a pickup truck, it's quite extraordinary, and it's owned by Colin Holder. Colin, how long have you had this wonderful machine?
3.5 years.
And what sort of condition was it in when you first got it?
It was fair.
Fair, right. Okay, now to a hot rod, a fair can mean anything from all the panels dragging on the floor to rust everywhere. Did you have to really set about it in a big way to get it in the way it is today?
Not really. It was very straight, but it wasn't what I wanted.
Okay. Do you know any of the history of this vehicle?
Well, it was originally bought and by the family in California. They owned it up till about 8 years ago. Then somebody from England went out and bought it.
Yeah.
And then I bought it off him. So I'm only the third owner since 1956.
What was it used for in America then?
As far as I know, antiques.
Carrying antiques around.
Yeah.
My goodness me, it's an antique in itself these days,
that's
isn't it?
right, yeah.
Quite a valuable one too. Now, just tell us a little bit about it, because it is, as you say, it's a Ford pickup truck. What have you got underneath the hood?
A big block Ford.
What size is that then when you say big block?
7.5 litres.
The stunning thing with this machine, the first thing you see about it is it just looks so very low. Question number one is, have you lowered it?
I've hired it.
You've raised it?
Yep. When I bought it, it was 2 inches lower.
Good God, it must have been almost impossible to drive, wasn't it?
I was going over, hitting everything.
My goodness me. So how have you raised it then? What have you done to raise it?
Well, you can alter the front suspension up and down with a socket. It goes up 9 inches.
Really? So you can set whatever level you want it to ride at?
Yes.
Have you ever run it on a drag strip?
No, not at all.
Do you not want to? You're not interested in doing that?
No, I've been up to about 140 in it, in Germany.
Have you?
Yeah.
What was it like at 140 miles an hour?
Smooth. It was smooth, but it was a smooth road that I was on.
Well, they would have delivered their antique furniture quite quickly in those days, wouldn't they, with that sort of power?
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the inside, because that's something quite nice as well. Wow, now this really is something in here. Tell me a little bit about what you've done inside the cab here.
Well, the steering wheel was all. I brought that to go with the wheels. It matches the wheels, the pattern on it. The inside, I've just done the carpet. The rest of it is how it was when it came back from California.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was in pretty good order when you got it?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. So, I mean, is it comfy in there?
Very. Yeah.
Jump in and show us your seating position, because I can tell you're such a proud man with this machine. It looks very low. I mean, is it a good driving position?
It's lovely.
Is it?
Yeah.
And power steering in there as well?
Yeah, power steering, yeah.
So it's a real easy cruiser?
Yeah.
Wow, it looks absolutely fantastic. Who applied the paint, or was this how it came from America as well?
No, it was originally blue, but I wanted orange. when I went out looking for an F100, I always wanted an orange one, so I had it done last year.
Right, let's have a look at the back, because that's something quite special as well, isn't it?
This is a metal tonneau that I had made last year. I just lift it up and it's there.
Absolutely superb. And if you have a quick look at this is, you told me stainless steel?
Yes, stainless steel top.
It looks absolutely superb, because the whole aspect of this is that when you look in from whatever angle, you can actually see the pickup bed, because if you don't look down there, you can see it up there. Your ideas again?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Now tell me a little bit about this, because this looks absolutely superb. The bumpers are different as well as they would have been on a stock F100?
Well, they would have been painted originally, with the brackets would have been a lot closer to the body.
Yeah. So, but these are the original bumpers which you've just had, chromed yourself?
Well, no, yes, they've been re-chromed,
Yeah.
and the brackets have been altered to give a low effect.
Yeah, indeed.
In part 2, more on our Jester.
Okay, I know it looks a bit of a mess, but actually that wiring loom is only going to take us one day to sort out. A bit of messing around, but that'll be there. The biggest problem is that I promised the manufacturer this car will be at a show in 2 weeks. Now, there isn't that much to do, really. The biggest problem for me is the trim, which is what this is all about. These are the side panels that we're making for it. That slots in there, and that will be screwed onto here. Go under. Right, this is going to be a glove box lid. We've got a lot of space between the outer bodywork and the chassis. So what I'm doing, so I can make most of that, is I'm going to make a little bag that's going to be fastened onto here, covered the same way as this with carpets. All of this is going to be carpeted, and then I've just got a bench seat to make, and that's going to be the biggest problem. Here's something you won't have seen if you saw the last series. These are little fiberglass wheel arch trims that we've made up. Now you could use aluminium, steel, anything really you can get your hands on, but the idea is to stop muck from splashing in from the wheels all over your engine bay. These are going to be painted matte black, and the way they're going to be fastened on is they're going to be riveted to the chassis rails here and then bonded on with fiberglass, and then again, like I said, painted matte black, as will the whole of the engine bay, which is going to look that little bit neater, a little bit tidier, and it keeps everything clean. Now, I know this is going to look a bit poncy, but I've got to set up the bench seat, and the problem is you can't really tell where the correct positioning is, so you have to actually sit in the car. It's a good excuse, I suppose. Anyway, in we get, climbing in, minding the wiring loom and the side panels. This is where you get to find out where there's any slight snags. For example, I've noticed that that side trim catches on my foot. It creates a bit of a problem with foot space, so I'm going to have to cut a little hole in that before I cover it. Right, so we've got the driving position. That's about right in terms of clutch movement. So right here is where I need the foam padding from the backrest to be. Also, I think I can afford to be a little higher up as well. So I'll probably give myself about 2 inches of movement there. I think that'll be right. Now, the next thing is to mark up where you are. That'll do. That gives me some idea of where it was. I can get out again and take a look. Alternatively, fill the car with dust and look where your bum's cleared to. Yes. Okay, here's an example of where looking at someone else's car can give you some good ideas for your own. I went to visit the Quantum factory and had a look at their H4, and they had these on the dashboard. Now I've got these slots here, which I put onto the dashboard to allow air through to the windscreen. You need that for SVA. It's very important that you make sure your car's got these slots, but it doesn't look very pretty. But I asked Quantum if I could buy these, put them over, and they look very pretty. So all I need to do is drill either end. And there you go, nice and simple. Now I'll unscrew that a little later, just black up the bits where you can see the red, and that look as good as a factory finished job. Here's something we did in the last series, but you'll actually be able to see what we're on about now. We have to cut the fuel filler pipe. So we cut the pipe here, and there you've got the fuel tank there, the fuel filler extension that we bought at the Exeter show, and that comes out on the bodywork around the back here, where the fuel filler pipe is.
My name's Dave Bryant. I'm a crew chief on a Shockwave top fuel funny car, racing in England and Europe for the year 2000. During the off-season, the car's had a lot of fresh paint job and a lot of parts put in it from America. We have to do this every year pre-season to set things up, make sure there's no leaks, make sure the car's running fine, and to show people the new paint job. This will be our third full year in the racing, third full season in top fuel funny car. We've raced other cars previously in other classes, but this is the actual third full year in the season in top fuel. Mainly the improvements are in the engine and clutch department this year. Last year, obviously we was pretty new to the sport, so last year was really our inaugural season at racing other cars. This year, hopefully we've got the dolly of the situation now, and we're out to kick some butt really and win some races and collect some trophies. Since last year we put a fresh blower on the car, some higher compression pistons, we've upped the nitro percentage ratio and put some bigger fuel pumps on the car, so now we can run a lot more fuel volume, which means the car travels on faster. Last year we was running 6.1, 6.0 at say 250 mile an hour. This year we're hoping for 570s, around that sort of figure at 275, 280 mile an hour. Well, our main rivals are Showtime, UK Showtime. The crew chief's based in America. He flies in and obviously he's got the benefit of living out there, so he can bring the bits and parts in. They give us a lot of help and encouragement as well as rivalry, but they run a slightly higher budget than us as well, so they're able to step things up a little more. But hopefully we've got a real hard working team and we can do it this year. I like to beat them, you see, on a regular basis. It's a different sport to any other motor racing like Rallycross or Formula 1, where each team's individual. This sport, we all muck in and help each other, you know, and it makes it good. As soon as the motors light up, that's the rivalry. That's where it all begins. Right. But as soon as you finish, you're back to friends again. There's 5 races in England, and then the tour goes through Europe in between. So then you've got Germany, Sweden, Finland, Holland, and it sort of returns back here in September for the World Finals. The funny cars are more of a demonstration class at the minute because they're in such short numbers, basically. But we're hoping, there's a few more cars coming out this year, we're hoping to put a deal together with the FIA to include us in the class. And then we can do the tour with them, given the sponsorship. You could say we're about 5 or 6 years behind the Americans in technology, and about the same in ETs and speeds. But that's basically because of budgets as well. I mean, Ronnie Cat spent $3 million on a tune-up for his car, his funny car, last year. We don't have anything like that sort of money, and we have to guess a lot. I suppose if you was to do the European tour, you probably need about £150,000 to do a European tour. I mean, obviously, the more money you've got, the more parts you can feed the car, and you can make the car go quicker. Because we have to be a little more conservative with things because we've got to reuse them. Yeah. So, 150,000 to get you through Europe, 200,000 to get you through comfortably. It's actually a very reasonable budget, you know. So, when you look at the likes of NASCAR and stock cars and rally cars, are on far more money, so, and the coverage is less. What we're trying to do is get the car more visible, win some races, get some sponsorship, and hopefully do the European tour. That's what we'd like to do. And me and my partner Gordon, a driver, would like to do this professionally and do the full European tour. You know, that's eventually what we want to do.
My name's Keith Andrews and I work here at Burnham Autos. I have done for the last 2 years. My main job here is coach trimming. I'm an upholsterer by trade, but I've also done quite a bit of body fabrication. And one of my biggest dreams in my life that I've always been involved with cars is to build my own car. And very much into hot rods, so this is what I decided to do. I built a 33 Ford Roadster. I didn't think I'd ever do it, but it all started, I suppose, with a grille shell, which I have here. And that was purely just a project to kill the boredom of my lunch hours. I used to sit around at lunchtime thinking, what can I do? And I thought I'll have a go at building a grill shell, and if it works out, then I'll have a go at doing the rest. Well, it worked out okay, albeit the use of filler, because it's not perfect. The biggest problem I've had would be the hinging of the doors, getting the clearances right for the door when it opens to clear the back skin here, and they took a few attempts. The inner door frames are the second ones that I made, because they don't always come out perfect first time. But otherwise, no real major headaches at all. A lot of it is trial and error, and you make a bit, it doesn't work, so you make it again. Some things do come out right first time. One thing I did decide on right from the offset is that I was going to have a removable hardtop, which meant I wanted side windows. You don't normally, as a rule, see roadsters with side windows, especially electric ones. But it seems to have worked out right in this one, and these again are from the Metro because the curvature of the glass matches the curvature of the edge of the screen there. Donor car I'm looking at, I'm hoping to use a Nissan 300ZX because it's got a good quality 3 litre V6 engine. It's twin turbocharged, so I've got the power there, but it's a nice small compact engine which I need with the space that I've got. Also, I think a modern engine would be a little bit more economical. You know, the rest of the lads, they like to stick their big block Chevy lumps in it, but I want something that I can afford to run at the end of the day.
Next week, Melissa Porter gets a TV exclusive drive of Tiger's new R6.